Thank you to the EA Creator Network for providing me with codes for The Sims 4. Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I am back today with Raising Them Right, but I'm doing things a little bit differently today. We'll see how it goes. I've already pre-recorded the footage of the game. I recorded about 3 hours worth of Raising Them Right and I've condensed it down into a video that's about an hour long. So what I'm doing now is reacting to myself previously playing the game, so my reactions are not kind of like live. I'm going to kind of explain what I did off camera. Now the reason for this is because I found that Raising Them Right was progressing very slowly, and we are actually due another expansion pack out this quarter. They've teased it. That means it's probably coming before January, so anytime now basically. I don't know when, but I want to be ready for it, and I don't want to do the thing that I did with Horse Ranch where I was spinning too many plates in the air. So I really want to wrap up Raising Them Right. I really want to get all these kids out the house before that expansion pack drops, or at least similar timing. So here's Greg, and we're back in Mount Komorebi where we kind of left the family. Greg is stood out in the cold in bare feet because he's a werewolf and he can hack it. He's tough, he's strong, he's a strong, confident werewolf. He is feeling really confident. He's got, I believe in me. The most important person believes in Greg himself. We did raise him to have good confidence. He's got puny sim. Honestly, did they really think Greg would lose? So we did fight Patella in the last video. And trusting the universe, the world is a good place filled with good people. Greg is happy to call some of them family. So I love this kind of like, he's angry, he's proud of himself for fighting, but he's also like, oh, the world is such a nice place. Now, in terms of progressing as a werewolf, Greg has transformation mastery, which is great. So he does have a little bit of control about when he changes and when he doesn't. But he does have these 3 like negative red werewolf traits that are really impacting his behavior. So we want to get those sorted out. We're going to be able to do that by improving his like leveling up as a werewolf and by unlocking the Lunar Howl, which means that we can re-roll those werewolf traits. We have been very unlucky with it so far. And I also kind of want to work on basically Greg's werewolf abilities and his dormant abilities in this video. I think that's really going to help him kind of as he ages up into adulthood to have more self-control and to have more like domination over his own nature. That's going to be my focus in this video. I have been having a lot of problems with the aspiration. We've had a fight, we've started a fight. I feel like we've fought multiple people at this point, but that aspiration is just not checking off. I do find the high school years aspirations to be a little bit difficult or problematic, whether they have slight bugs or they're just really hard to kind of like enact. So I think what I'm going to do with Greg is switch out that live fast aspiration and go for the werewolf aspiration, because again, I just feel like that is going to help him in his adulthood a little bit more to kind of focus on just being himself and living in his own furry skin. So yeah, I do switch over to werewolf initiate. He needs to become a werewolf. He's already done that. He needs to level up to runt. He's already done that. He needs to experience a full moon, which is quite a few days away. It's only just been the new moon, so we're going to have to wait on that. But we can also get him onto reading werewolf books. So I like the idea of getting him to read the werewolf books, because this means he can get the lunar epiphany trait, skill, ability, which means that he can kind of like decipher all the lore on all the objects from the werewolves pack. So I want him to be able to do that. Greg also has some fears that he needs to resolve before he ages up, but he's doing quite well on his character values, so that's a good thing. Eliza Pancake, so she's doing quite well. She's progressing with her aspiration. Slow and steady wins the race with Eliza Pancakes. She does need to do her homework 5 times, so that's just, we need to just do that every day to make that progress. And we're just kind of working through high school, working through trying to get an A, working through her after school activities, and working through her part-time career as well. She needs to progress in some skills though for this, so she needs to get any skill to level 3. I do want to go for charisma because I want her to get into politics, and I like the idea of her being quite persuasive and convincing people to kind of like get on board with her policies. Vlad and Don are doing okay. Vlad still needs to finish homework 2 times while focused, but he's doing really well with his skills, so we don't need to worry about that too much. Don is working on his motor skills, so he's trying to learn how to ride a bike. He's working on his body skill. We just kind of need to keep making that progress. Agnes has only just aged up from being a toddler, so she's got a lot of work to do. I decided to send them home. There wasn't much point in staying in Mount Komorebi at this point, and most of the activities I needed them to do involved actually getting back home and like going to school and things like this to make the progress. Once we were back home, I just went ahead and got everybody to bed. I thought a good night's sleep, refreshing their needs, and we can start off again in the morning. At this point, I did actually realise that Agnes doesn't have a proper official bedroom because she's only just aged up to child. So I went ahead and kind of like built her a little cubby room at the front of the house. This kind of office space that was just in the hall in the landing, I just went ahead and converted it into a bedroom for her. I went ahead and put bunk beds in there just because it's quite space saving, and I put the little desk back in there because again, I do want her to ultimately be a writer. So she has the computer to kind of like get her writing skill up if we get the chance to do that. Also, she's a bit of a bookworm, so I went and put bookcases in her room again so that she can kind of read stories and get that inspiration for her own work and her own writing skill. I gave her a nice little chair so she can read her books there, and a bit of a granny lamp because again, she's Agnes. I decorated the room with a really nice crocheted rug, some lovely roses, and these little cute owls. And I did think it was very, very cute and wholesome, while still being a little bit old-fashioned and granny. I thought it suited her quite well. I got Cinderella to stock up on potions of plentiful needs because I remembered that I can now give those to Greg and Eliza. With them being teens, they can drink those and keep their needs high, which hopefully means that they're going to be able to keep making progress. So I went ahead and gave a potion of plentiful needs to Greg and woke him up and got him on reading the werewolf books. So I bought several werewolf books, anything that I could find, and I just kind of like spammed to get him reading them. You can see here some of the book titles. We've got Beyond Big and Bad, Rethinking Harmful Werewolf Stereotypes. That's my go-to werewolf book. The Night the Moon Forgot to Shine by PJ Ranchers. Oh, Ranchers, is that a clue, Sims Team? Sims Team don't do hints. Dusk Glow, 3 Shadow Moons, so they seem to be like Twilight type books. And Fanged Friends Forever by Wolfgang Mulder. Unfortunately, Greg was already in the process of transforming into his beast form. Luckily, I'd unlocked Somber Howl, which meant I was able to reduce some of his fury and just kind of like starve that off for another time. But this made him sad, which made me sad. But anyway, I got him back onto his book reading game. Eliza woke up naturally and she's going through a phase. It says she'll pick up any instrument, any chance she gets, yell often, and turn all radios up to 11. And Eliza just wants to be heard. Again, she's going to be in the politics career. She's going to have a megaphone. So she's going through the loud phase right now. And I kind of love that for her. She's letting the world hear her voice. So I went ahead and got her to drink a potion of plentiful needs and then started working on her charisma skill. Again, really intending for her to get into politics and convince people of, you know, her policies of how to make the world a better, fairer place for all Sims. I want her to kind of like fight the power. So yeah, charisma was the one that I kind of went for. She also needs to work on her entrepreneur skill. And this is something that she does need to do for her part-time career. Taking selfies, taking the promo shots. I did find that Grim was quite sad in this episode quite a lot of the time, unfortunately. It breaks my heart to see him sad because he's such a sweet little baby angel of death. But I did do my best to kind of like look after his needs and keep his motives high. So here Cinderella is tending to his need for amusement, and they're doing this lovely play interaction that is base game, but it's so sweet, and they look like they're having so much fun together. I really, really like it. Now, any Sims that have been reading have this weird thing where they start walking around with their hand like this. Resetting them does fix it, but you're going to notice that a lot in this video. Like, everybody's kind of like, capiche? And here's Don Lothario. Don got up and really, really needed the bathroom. He was going all the way downstairs, so I redirected him to the upstairs bathroom with it being closer. I also made sure that everybody had food, so Cinderella just kept on throughout this 3-hour play session, like magicking food and making sure everybody was fed. Greg had finished reading his first werewolf book, so I went ahead and got him to read a second one. Luckily, it did check off. So again, this just kind of took time. I just kept on sending him back to keep reading until that eventually checked off. The baby sheep and goat, I keep on forgetting about them, and they are not doing so well. They constantly need care and attention, which isn't great because all my children need care and attention, and they're coming as my priority. So we did send Cinderella out to clean them, and kind of regretted getting them at this point, to be honest. I caught Christopher out there doing yoga, and I kind of redirected him back to his gardening because his garden wasn't looking great. He needed to spray for bugs. He needed to go and kind of like do his weeding and take better care of his crops. He just like, I feel like the gardening and the small animals were just being neglected at this point. I wasn't doing a good job of kind of caring for those periphery things because the whole focus has been on raising the children. I got this notification that Candy was thinking of needing, but that reminded me that I could hire a ranch hand, and I thought that's a great idea. So I went ahead and kind of like called one in. It was a bit expensive, but we have got quite a lot of money, so that was okay. He showed up and immediately started to tend to the animals in his own unique way. But this was an absolute godsend. It says, "Hi there, I'm your ranch hand. My name is Montgomery. Nice to meet y'all. I'm good with animals, plants, and repairs." And it says, "If you want me to harvest plants or pick up manure, just ask." So we went ahead and I clicked on him and went on assign chores, and he is already tagged to do gardening and repairs. Now this was so helpful because not only did he look after the small animals really, really well, he also helped Christopher with his gardening and looking after those plants. So unfortunately, I think he was actually possibly insane, but I mean, look at the household he's with. Here's Greg being a good, studious little werewolf and getting on with his assignment. He is about to lose self-control though, so again, I really need to re-roll those traits so that this doesn't happen so often. Don Lothario has witness to a bully. Some kids at school were being mean to one of my friends and I wanted to help, but I didn't know what to do. What do you think I should have done? Now, when I get these, I tend to look at how it affects the character values. You can see there where it says raises conflict resolution, lowers manners, raises empathy, lowers emotional control. So I tend to look at what is quite difficult for me to improve through other methods, and what do I need help with. So I always find like conflict resolution is one of the harder ones to improve, but Don specifically is going for empathy. So I went for stay out of it and console your friend afterwards, because emotional control is quite easy to get back up using things like the yoga mat. Greg finally transformed into a werewolf. Greg finally transformed into a werewolf. He lost his self-control, so I went ahead and kind of like sent him to the other side of the map because I didn't want him to be a problem. Here's Eliza and Agnes having an absolute bop together. I kind of love this for them. I love that their outfits are colour coordinated. I thought they looked amazing. But Eliza did have to go and continue working on her charisma skill. Vlad was out playing with the toys, so I just got him to go ahead and learn his lines for his drama class. And Don was outside working on his motor skills. Now, I did want him to learn to ride a bike, but this is really buggy. I tried to do it from his inventory, it didn't work. So I had to go ahead and kind of like get the bike outside and then call Christopher and Don to stand next to it and then run the interaction. I found it worked better that way because people kept on walking up. Greg had found his way back home and was bothering the ranch hand, so I told him to regain self-control. This eventually worked, and he was able to get back on with his book reading. Stop scaring the ranch hand, Greg. Eliza finally got her charisma skill to level 3, which was great for her school goal, but she still had to get it to level 4 for her like side hustle goal. So I just continued to get her to kind of work on the mirror. Vlad also took it upon himself to start reading the werewolf books, and I saw this as like a good sign because it says the new moon always led to one friend or another proposing a lazy gathering in the woods. As they snacked and slumbered, their friendship flourished. It was on these days that Boris liked to invite the group to go hunting for mushrooms rather than for meat. So I like this because I do like the idea of the vampire Vlad and the werewolf Greg kind of bonding and nurturing their friendship together. So yeah, I took this as a really good sign. The ranch hand was helping out with the chores and cleaning up the place, which I really appreciated. So again, I had to kind of like send Don back outside to go and work on his bike riding skill. He decided to clip through everything on the way. This was driving me a little bit crazy. The animation is definitely glitching out. He decided to ride his bike into my Mini, and he definitely needs some mentorship when it comes to bike riding. Cars, please, Sims team, so this doesn't have to happen again. Grim also walked through the car. I just want cars. I just want cars. Don was definitely struggling. Most of the time he didn't have his feet on the pedals and he was just kind of like shuffling his way around the lot. He wasn't going anywhere. He kept on getting stuck in one place. He's riding through things. It was a whole ongoing problem basically. I ended up dragging the bike out of its inventory and getting Don and Christopher to come down and stand either side of it, and when they both got close I then chose the interaction to kind of like mentor Don and teach him to ride a bike. This was the best way I found to kind of like start this interaction, so if you're having a lot of problems with it, I do recommend kind of like dragging it from your inventory and doing it that way. Christopher was definitely having a hard time with this. I think he was feeling a little bit stressed about it because Don, bless him, he is not a natural when it comes to bike riding. I don't know, because he's got his hearing aid, I don't know if it's like an inner ear kind of like balance problem, but he was up the balcony, down the balcony, in the bushes. It's taken him a long time to kind of nail this skill is what I'm telling you. Just pushing himself along with his feet, you know, up the stairs, wherever, whatever. Christopher got this parenthood pop-up which says making friends. I really want to be friends with someone, but they don't seem to really want to be friends with me. How can I make them my friend? I went for you can't force friendship because it raises empathy, which I think Greg really needs, but it also lowers emotional control, which again is quite easy to get back up. And then just got him back on his book reading. Dusk Glow 2, Moonrise. Greg was feeling quite generally low in this Let's Play, and I do feel like a big part of that is coming from those negative werewolf traits. So again, I really wanted to kind of like work on improving those in this episode. Cinderellimouse magicked a pizza, which was quite exciting to me because we've just got Home Chef Hustle, and I was like, yay, pizza! Now, Don had picked up an illness. He was all red and blotchy and he was itchy, and I kind of love this for him because I want him to go into the medical career. So it gives me a chance to kind of like, you know, learn about health and medicine and, you know, staying healthy and eating healthy, nutritious foods. So I got him to get some orange juice from the fridge, and this cured him immediately. So I love this for him. Again, if he's going into the medical career, I like the idea of him kind of having these experiences and learning about medicine and healthy eating. So we've got combating a cold from herbal remedy hydration. Sometimes simple home remedies are the best remedies. So maybe we're going to get him into something like herbalism as well at some point. He did the dishes of his own accord, so I had Cinderella encourage him and praise him for that. Don got the opportunity to like fitness, so I agreed to that because again, he's into health and fitness is part of that in my eyes. I had Cinderella kind of do her usual maintenance and repair work using magic on things like the toilets. Eliza was still chatting away to herself on the mirror. I kind of wanted to keep doing this as long as possible. Again, I can get her needs up using potions of plentiful needs. Vlad was tucking into that pizza, but it was bedtime. So as soon as I was able, I kind of like sent him down to his coffin to sleep. Unfortunately, he kept on glitching out and kind of getting really stretched. They grow up so fast. And yeah, he looked really weird in the coffin. He kind of kept on popping back out of it. I fixed this by resetting Vlad and resetting the coffin, and then he was able to finally get a good night's sleep. Still stretched a little bit, but stayed in the coffin. The next thing I knew, Don had woke up and was screaming because he had the monster under his bed. I decided I wanted to try and get him to make friends with it, so I had him talk to it. It didn't work, unfortunately. They're not friends. So I woke Greg up and, well, I think Greg woke himself up, and I got him to just kind of spray the monster under the bed because I'm sorry, octopus bed monster, we have work to do and Don needs his beauty sleep. The next thing I knew, Victor Feng was climbing in through the window. Now, I do see him as a bit of a vampire, so this was quite scary to me, and I thought, no way, Victor Feng, no one invited you in here. How dare you come through my weird glitchy window? My son was in the room, and my son was like, set him on fire. So I used magic and looked at all the different cursors, and my son voted for Zip Zap, so I went ahead and zip zapped him to teach him a lesson and show him that he can't just come into my child's bedroom uninvited. I'm sorry, sir. I don't care if you own half a Samwise Studio. Who do you think you are? Get out of my house. My son was like ready for revenge, so he was like, do something else. Chillio, chillio, chillio. I did try and use it. Unfortunately, I think because I'd already asked him to leave, I'd used the sent home interaction. He just walked off the lot, like not a care in the world. So I'm sad that I didn't get my revenge on Victor Feng. One day, Victor Feng, we're coming for you. Again, just trying to keep Grim happy. His hygiene was low, his fun was low, so I thought that giving him a bubble bath was going to kind of like have a two-pronged approach to both of those needs. He's so sweet, he's so adorable. In order to age Grim up, we need to max out 3 infant traits. He's doing quite well on movement and communication, so I got him to kind of like talk to his little cat after he got out of the bath, and I went ahead and got him to kind of like get in the ball pit as well. So Greg decided to autonomously do yoga, which I didn't mind because it helps with his emotional control, but I really wanted to tackle his fears. And when I looked at prepare for test, it says that when in a focused mood, prepare for an exam on homework in your Sims inventory. And one of the yoga routines actually helps to get Sims focused. So I chose this one. The mind concentrating yoga routine is going to help him to get into a focused mood. Agnes got up and was in a pretty good mood, and she needed to draw 2 pictures while inspired. So I needed to try and get Agnes inspired. Now this took forever. I just feel like the fates were against me, but I told her to go and have a shower to kind of get into an inspired mood. Now the yoga worked and did give Greg a focused buff, but it wasn't strong enough because he had all these other buffs as well that were interfering. So I went ahead and got him to ponder moves on the chess table. This also wasn't enough, so I got him to stargaze as well. He's just too confident, guys. He's just too confident. So Eliza got up, and because she was hungry, I had Cinderella magic her some food. I keep forgetting that I can just give them a potion of plentiful needs. Unfortunately, she had to run off to work immediately, so she wasn't able to eat any of the breakfast. Instead of having a shower, Agnes was autonomously taking the trash out, which, again, very thankful for the help, but it's not what I intended for her. I also lined up reading one of the werewolf books because I thought that might also help her to feel inspired. Agnes was finally done taking out the trash, and she went off for a shower. Again, it took me a long time to get her into the inspired mood. Grim was done with his bath and done talking to the cat, and he was off to play in the ball pit. Now his knees were getting really low. He was hungry and he was getting really tired, but I thought with him being so close to maxing out the movement skill, I wanted to give him at least a short amount of time in the ball pit with the hopes that he would like max out that skill and I could stop worrying about it. So I love the ball pit. I know it was controversial when it came out. I do think it's a really fun little activity, and Grim seemed happy playing in there. Greg was finally focused, and you can see here he's got centered and focus from doing yoga, in awe of the cosmos from looking into space, and mental workout from pondering chess moves. So finally, like, it outweighed all the other buffs, and I was able to get him to study for his test. But he had class in like 50 something minutes, so he had to be really quick. I was quite determined that he had to do this before he left for school, so I was kind of like, fast Greg, fast. Grim was done with the ball pit and he was making his way back into the house, and I was like, come on, please get movement level 5. We're so close now. While at work, Eliza got one of these little kind of work pop-ups. It says, chase the clouds. Oh my gosh, no way. Titania Chroma, a famous makeup influencer, is reaching out to Eliza to do a collab. This is a great opportunity and really could put Eliza's name on the map. On the other hand, Eliza might want to try and make it on her own without anyone's help. Does she do the collab and gain the clout, or does she take a chance and try to make it on her own? I don't feel like she's making makeup tutorial videos. I don't think that's her vibe. Again, she's getting into politics, so the whole makeup thing just didn't, it seemed flimsy and not her style. Unfortunately, Titania Chrome didn't appreciate the rejection and made a video calling Eliza out. Titania Chrome's followers have now made Eliza their enemy, and her comments are filled with negativity and claims that Eliza isn't even her real name. I mean, no publicity is bad publicity, so this could actually work out quite well for her, especially if she takes a political stance against things like consumerism and things that are kind of like surface level but have no kind of underlying value. It could actually be quite good for her. I found Agnes studying with Greg, which was really cute, but then it was time to send all students back to high school. I didn't feel the need to follow any of them, yeah, Greg still wasn't finished, so I needed to kind of like speed up this process. I clicked on all the other children to make sure that they were all heading for school, and then I focused all my attention on Greg. I got Christopher out there, helping him with his homework. At this point, Grim was getting really tired. I was hoping that when Christopher had finished with Greg that he could be able to go down and kind of like tuck him in and like kiss him goodnight. Luckily, Greg did finish, and he didn't solve that fear, but he made some progress. It says Greg stayed focused and successfully prepared for the upcoming test, but he still can't shake the dread of actually taking the test. More time preparing for a test will help Greg overcome any anxieties and fully prepare for the next test. It says test too many times there. So yeah, so we have made progress though, so that's good. Finally, the Grim Reaper achieved level 5 of the movement skill, so we could stop worrying about that. While the kids were at school, I was getting a lot of these pop-ups. So we got Eliza's last math test was not her best work. She got a so-so grade, which could really bring down her average. Should she ask to do some extra credit or just try hard to get a perfect grade next time? She would be a perfectionist. She would want that extra credit grade. But unfortunately, the teacher decides to provide Eliza with a life lesson. Isn't it great when they do that? Eliza learns that if she wants a better grade, she should study harder first instead of crying about it after. So I don't know how Eliza would feel about that. I think she would be quite salty. Eliza also got prank failed. I don't remember planning this prank, but she must have a partner in crime out there somewhere. I went ahead and told Eliza to study hard, to really aim for that A. And unfortunately, Grim did not make it to bed. He fell asleep in Eliza's room, so I got Christopher to go upstairs and finally read him that toddler book. At work, Cinderella got this pop-up potential plagiarism. Cinderella keeps finding similarities in a particular group of students' homework assignments. It seems too obvious to be coincidental. Should she fail the students for copying work or ignore the issue? I think she would be slightly mischievous and on the kids' side and just be kind of like letting them get away with it. So I said ignore the issue. Unfortunately, this didn't work out well for her because she got another faculty member discovers that one of the students has been plagiarizing their work. Cinderella is confronted, and despite defending that she didn't have enough evidence to act, the board disagrees, stating a lack of proper oversight on Cinderella's part. It'll be harder to get that promotion now. Oops. So I also told Cinderella that she also needs to work hard. With all the kids asleep and Cinderella out of the house, Christopher had some free time to just kind of like get on with his work, selling his flowers on Plopsy, harvesting his flowers, creating bouquets. So I just kind of like hammered those interactions. As always, I choose the bouquet that is the most expensive but that I can make for free because I've got the raw materials for it, and he just kind of got to work. I also went ahead and got him to kind of like fertilize his plants some more, and that ranch hand is really helping out with the gardening. I caught the ranch hand giving the goat a little bit of a snuggle, which I thought was really cute, and the goat and the sheep seem really happy now. So again, absolute godsend, even if he is insane. And yeah, having the maid and the ranch hand on the lot was making a big difference. Luna showed up, who is Cinderella's oldest child from the high school years Let's Play. So I invited her in and gave her a residence key, and she gets on really well with Christopher, so that's really cute as well. Christopher also paid some bills and voted on the neighbourhood action plan. We went for green gardening, like it was a collaboration, because I thought it would be the most helpful for him. The kids came home, glitched inside each other. Eliza gave Agnes some side eye, and Greg fell asleep on the floor. After telling Don to do his homework, again, I got his bike out and told him to keep practicing that bike riding skill. And I got Christopher to also help him with his homework. Who put that plate there? Cinderella came home, so I went ahead and got her to help Agnes with her homework and just kind of speed up the process. And Luna and Vlad got the jokesters family dynamic, which I agreed to. Greg again is losing his cool. We need to solve those werewolf traits. I'm really working on his fizz as well. So he has this one where he needs to figure out differences with other Sims. I just kind of started spamming that interaction on anyone that was around him. While at drama, Vlad got this pop-up that says create cowboy costumes. Cowboy costumes are needed for the show on Friday. The teacher wants classic cowboy attire for their favourite cowboy movie, but Vlad wants to add a fantasy twist to them. Should Vlad create the costumes in a classic or a fantasy style? And I chose fantasy, obviously, because it's Vlad, right? Fantasy suits him better. Although I do kind of want to see Vlad in a cowboy costume. That might be fun. Rebelling against the teacher normally works really well for Vlad, and he got the teacher is not happy with the costumes, but there is no time to make new ones. The show goes on and the costumes are a hit with the audience. Students are asking Vlad to make costumes for the homecoming parade, and Vlad gains fame from his hard work. So yeah, it worked out really well for him. Christopher just again lost control. I wasn't able to get him to regain control, so I just got him to again to like run to the other side of the map to kind of keep him occupied for a few minutes. Green Gardening also won the vote, which was great. We still need to get Vlad to do his homework 2 times while focused, so I got him to kind of do chess and do some stargazing. Don finally checked off the goal to ride a bike for 4 hours, so I got him to do some yoga to kind of build up the rest of his motor skill. And Vlad seemed quite happy playing chess and building up his mental skills. I do quite like getting each child to kind of build up a skill that suits them, so Vlad was really enjoying playing chess and Don was really enjoying kind of working on his body. Cinderella interrupted by kind of sliding in on the lawn slide, and the next thing I knew, Vlad was there too. So I sent him back over to use the telescope. I was still having trouble getting Agnes in an inspired mood, so I went ahead and just got her to read a book in the hopes that that was going to get her inspired. And she got a loose tooth. And then I got the notification that Don had completed his aspiration, finally. This meant that he'd completed 1 out of his 2 aspirations at child level. I went ahead and used mind and body because, again, he's going to be a doctor, so mind and body really suits him. And he does still need to max out his motor skill. His new aspiration said he needed to become confident, but he was already confident and it didn't check off. Greg, meanwhile, was feeling very confident, so I got him to keep reading his werewolf books. Christopher got this Get Famous request for money for charity, which I agreed to because it really helps his reputation. And he's a good person. I figured he would donate to charity if he had the money. Grim was feeling a little bit angry at this point and he needed some food. So I went ahead and like solved those needs for him. Greg finally started to get these notifications that he's on the path to getting a lunar epiphany. So it says, there seems to be entire passages along the pages written in an indecipherable language. The only thing Greg can make out are some symbols that look like the moon. So hopefully we're going to be able to unlock the lunar epiphany soon, which is going to help him to understand his werewolf nature better. He also got this pop-up that says, the group of 4 had always been inseparable. Even if Mingan was a vampire, they'd sworn together they would find a cure for her, no matter the cost. She would one day be part of the pack. So again, I think that's some kind of Twilight reference. At this point, it was getting a bit late, so I just went in to get all the youngest children back into bed mode, which was a bit glitchy, but I successfully did it in the end. Greg finally achieved the goal of reading 3 werewolf books, but I kept on getting him to read them because I wanted him to get the lunar epiphany, and I just started spamming that figure out differences interaction in the hopes that that would solve his fear. It was quite cute because everybody kind of like came and gathered around the dining table after all the younger children had gone to bed, and they had some kind of like grown-up time. And then I got this pop-up that Don was going through a phase and he was feeling a little bit clingy and he wanted to stay extra close to his favourite caregiver. Eliza also got a bit stroppy at this point and got, I would like to adult now. I feel like I'm old enough now that I should be able to go anywhere I want to and do whatever I want. Can you treat me like an adult, please? I said, you'll always be my baby, because it's quite easy to get responsibility back up and it's good for her to gain empathy. So with the younger kids in bed, I went ahead and started giving potions of plentiful needs to Eliza and Greg so that they could keep on working through their skills overnight. Detective Dolph was always a mystery to those closest to him, and at times even to himself. Perhaps that's why he was so drawn by those unsolvable mysteries. Why he always felt like a lone wolf hunting for answers, but yeah, he had to solve the greatest mystery of all. Who was he? Who am I? I really love that the Werewolves pack added these werewolves books with like a little bit of extra lore. I think it's a really nice touch. Here we go. There seems to be entire passages of this written in an indecipherable language. The only thing Greg can make out are some symbols that look like the moon. So we're definitely getting closer to getting that lunar epiphany. Don, why are you up? Why are you up? His needs aren't too bad, to be fair. I decided to at least try and get him into a confident mood before I sent him back to bed. So I was doing things like brush teeth, psych self up on the mirror. He did get another illness though, so I told him to just get a glass of water this time in the hopes that that would help him kind of like fight off the illness. And Greg finally unlocked the lunar epiphany. Greg can now start to decipher the strange markings found in the margins of werewolf books. What new knowledge is out there waiting to be discovered? So this was really exciting to me. I was quite pleased that he was making some progress on his like werewolf abilities because he'd been so stuck with his teen aspiration for so long. So I feel like this suits him a little bit better. Eureka, Greg can comprehend the lost secrets of the moon. This is an important step towards understanding the history and nature of werewolves and can lead to learning how to cure this ailment for good. And Greg is now a veteran werewolf, so well done, Greg. Again, I just kind of kept on spamming figure out differences in the hope that that would eventually work. And I also started spamming the werewolf interactions because I knew that this could unlock another werewolf bonus trait. And he got it. Werewolf mentorship unlocked. Werewolf mentorship. Teach other werewolves with skill and grace. Greg has been around the block and has a wealth of insight on all things werewolf. Werewolves under this guidance will receive bonus rank, mood and relationship gains when being mentored, taught to howl or having werewolf experiences shared with them. So that's kind of perfect for him. I love that he's kind of learning more about the werewolf side of his nature, getting more in touch with that. He is going to go into the army as well, so having kind of like self-control but having kind of werewolf strength could really suit him better than those kind of high school teenage aspirations. Vlad was feeling very focused, and he was also doing his homework, so it was perfect because he needed to finish homework 2 times while focused. He'd already done it once, so I was like, please, please, please let this check off for him, and it worked. So he finally completed that milestone, and for the next one he had to make 3 emotional potions. Now I never use the potion making station. I think because the base game version was just so ugly, and the only other version we have came with like Parenthood, I think. No, Snowy Escape, so I kind of forget about its existence. It did, however, slot onto the treehouse, which I was very excited about, and I got Vlad straight to work and crafting those emotion potions. I also asked Don how to help with the phase he was going through, and it says, I just want to be near my parents. A gentle nudging to play with other children, make friends, or even gain skills would help me to become more independent. So I started to choose interactions that would like help boost his confidence and help him with his clingy kind of bonus trait at the same time. So I did influence him to kind of play outdoors in the hope that that would also help him with his motor skill. So Vlad had finished making his first potion, but he needed to go and tend to his needs, so I just kind of let him do that. I got Eliza to work from home and she needed to advertise her side hustle, but her entrepreneur skill wasn't high enough to do this yet. So I just basically needed to build up her entrepreneur skill. So I started getting her to kind of like do the reviews of different products in the hope that she could build that up. I got Vlad to kind of be a bit of a guinea pig and drink his first emotion potion in the hope that it was going to help his needs. And then I noticed that he got grossed out by garlic. Ooh, what is this? Maybe Vlad is allergic to this. I really like this kind of like tie-in with vampires because children don't really have a huge amount of special vampire abilities or anything like that. So it's a nice little indicator of like what they're going to become. I caught Don doing some extra credit work, which perhaps wasn't the best use of his time. He did need to learn to ride a bike, so I got his bike back out of his inventory. Again, it's helping with his motor skills, so it's just something that I kept on spamming. And it was time for school again. So Don got this pop-up. Today the principal is visiting Don's class. Everybody has to be on their best behaviour and not interrupt the lesson. Unfortunately, the kid sitting behind him in class has decided to pelt him with something. Should he ignore it or ask the kid to stop? I think Don would just turn around and be like, stop it. I think he's quite confident. I think he'd tell his kid straight. So that's what he went for. And luckily this time it worked in his favour. It says, Don scribbled a note and passes it back to the kid. Stop it or I'll tell. The kid wads up the paper and fires it at Don, but it misses and rolls up to the teacher's feet. For once, somebody else gets in trouble and Don gets off scot-free. Eliza also got running the class. The teacher has to step out for a second to talk to a parent. She asks Eliza to run the class for a little while. Should Eliza keep following the lesson plan the teacher laid out or do something fun and easy with her classmates? We know that Eliza would follow the plan to the letter. She would be like, I'm the teacher now. This is my class. It was going to be a quiet working day anyway, and Eliza's classmates barely noticed the difference. It's not like she's lecturing them on the periodic table or anything. While the other kids were at school, I took the opportunity to work on Grimm's communication skill. And then I got another pop-up. Now that Vlad's on the honour roll, he may as well have a sign on his back that says, kick me. Oh wait, he does. Should he tell the teacher or try and find the culprit on his own? He would try and find the culprit. We know he would hunt him down. It says, the great thing about stupid people is that they never cover their tracks. Spying red marker all over his harasser's hands, Vladislav peels off the sign and gives the bully a friendly pat, transferring the sign and the torment. Good for you, Vlad. I feel like Vlad would have done worse. He then got lunch of sadness. Some of the kids threatened Vlad and took his lunch money. Big mistake. Big, huge mistake. He's been crying in the office. I chose find the kid or I will. I think I just had a bloodlust at this point. Poor Grimm was sad again because he was uncomfortably wet. So I went ahead and changed his outfits and remembered that I had this one with the bag on his head, which is hilarious to me. Then I decided it was a good idea to make him friends with Billy, the destroyer of worlds, because, I don't know, Grimm having a goat seemed like the right thing to do. I also thought that interacting with the goat would build up his communication skills, and it worked really well. He petted Billy, he hugged Billy, and he maxed out his communication skill. Grimm has fully developed his verbal skills. I wish I had the same. He can now tell story, goofy story, all that good stuff. Thank you so much, Billy, the destroyer of worlds. I need to rename him Billy, the creator of good communication, and then I need him to come and visit me. So now I just had to keep working on his potty skill. It was still a few days away from the full moon, and Greg does need to get 2 aspirations complete before he can move on to being an adult. So I changed tact a little bit and went for the Drama Llama aspiration. I felt like this one was the most easy to achieve. He needed to gossip 5 times, so I just started spamming Eliza with the Sansequoia Secrets gossip interaction. Eliza seemed really keen on sharing all the information she had, and they keep the splash pad turned on even when it's cold or rainy, so maybe think twice before taking the kids out there on a rainy day. And you know that clown painting over at the recreation centre? Pretty sure it's haunted. No, not pretty sure, definitely sure. Eliza really took to this and actually got the preference for liking gossip, which I went for because I thought it really suited her. And she just kept that gossip coming. Vlad got a pop-up, The Principal's Revenge. The principal does not like the new dance that's got added to the show and demands the club not use it in their performance. The club is going to vandalise her house for revenge. Should Vlad tell the principal or help the club by cutting down her prized orchids? We know which route Vlad would go down. Vlad is now a legend for cutting down the principal's orchids. She can't prove who it was, but she has her eye on Vlad, so be careful. Vlad gains fame for his bold rebellion. I still hadn't managed to get Agnes inspired, so I went ahead and told her to take a thoughtful shower again. Cinderella was playing with Grimm and he had the bag on his head still, which I found so funny. Once Grimm's fun need was raised, I got him back on potty training. We're so close to leveling him up now. And eventually I realised that this child's play lot trait was kind of overriding some of the other moodlets. So I went ahead and removed the child's play trait, and immediately Agnes became inspired. Alleluia. thank my Lord and Saviour Thorn Bailey. So I got her out there immediately to go and draw some shapes. Greg had managed to solve his fear of being judged by figuring out differences with other Sims, but he still had the fear of failing tests. So I needed to go out and kind of like get him back into a focus mood. I also went ahead and gave everybody more potions of plentiful needs. Again, unfortunately, with Greg having 4 negative werewolf traits, he's really not doing well with like handling having to focus his attention on academic things. So I really need to focus on getting him leveled up so he can re-roll those with the Lunar Howl. I continue to get Eliza to build her entrepreneurial skill because this is what she needs to do, and she was able to advertise a side hustle online at this point. Finally, Greg became focused. I gave him a potion of plentiful needs and I got him back on revising for his exams. Again, I got Cinderella to help him with this because it just speeds up the process if you get a parent involved. Eliza finally reached level 2 of the entrepreneur skill and was able to advertise her Simfluencer hustle online. She didn't actually need to do that anymore as kind of like her daily task, but I got her to do it anyway because I just wanted her to keep building the skill. I really felt the need to kind of like keep an eye on Agnes while she was using the activity table, just to make sure she didn't cancel the interaction because it took so long to get her into that inspired moodlet. I didn't want her to like wander off and kind of like do something else and kind of lose that. And during this time, Greg finally resolved his fear and went outside to keep Agnes company. Agnes completed her first painting and I got right back on task doing the second painting. She also got to creativity skill level 4, which is great because she does need to max out as a childhood skill. Again, just spamming the bike riding interactions with Don here. I think I love how he kind of like side-eyed Christopher as he kind of walked around him to get on the bike there. Christopher just laughed. Again, he needs to learn to ride a bike to complete this aspiration, and for some reason it just feels like it's taking forever. He's still doing the whole foot method. Agnes finally managed to complete that aspiration milestone, and next she needed to keep working on her creativity skill and play with toys. So I got her outside playing with the doll's house because, again, figured that was like 2 birds with 1 stone. I also clicked on the toy box and got her to play just directly with things like Yarny and the little knitted bear and some of the adorable toys that are in the game. Eliza was still serving up those Sansequoia secrets to Greg, which meant that he achieved that goal of gossiping 5 times, and he needed to start on spreading rumours. Again, Eliza was well up for this. And then the only thing Greg had left to do was mess around in the cuddle carts, which again should be quite easy. Don was struggling to learn how to practice a bike, so I put Child's Play back on now that Agnes has finished kind of being inspired. When Vlad woke up, I also got him working on his emotion potions, and he took to this like a fish to water, and he achieved that goal quite quickly. I was kind of toying with the idea of maybe putting him in the science career. So I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Should we put Vlad in the science career or should we put him in the acting career when he's an adult? Vlad achieved that aspiration quite quickly. So that was really brilliant because he's now achieved 2 childhood aspirations. Which means that he's pretty much ready to have his birthday and age up to being a teen. Finally, I am so excited. I'm going to do that with you guys on camera. Greg is doing really, really well. We do need to work on that high school years aspiration, but he's nearly done with Werewolf Initiate. We just need to wait for a full moon, which is within the next couple of days. I also really want to progress as a werewolf and get him Lunar Howl so that we can re-roll those really negative werewolf traits. That's like a must-have before we can age him up, I think. So to look at these more closely, he has Must Be Clean. This sim gains Fury with poor hygiene and has a newfound appreciation for tongue baths. Being a werewolf is weird like that. I mean, he can do tongue baths, but having these 4 red traits is really, really challenging. Night Wolf. Night wolves prefer sleeping during the day and gain Fury when deviating from a nocturnal sleep cycle. Wolf brain. These sims have trouble with intellectual or logical pursuits when their wolf brain is constantly calling. So that one has been a real challenge for him, kind of trying to do his homework and things like that. And he has Prideful. This sim feels a special pride about being a werewolf and doesn't appreciate being made to feel otherwise. Aside from gaining Fury while embarrassed or uncomfortable, they may also like to take things a little too personally. So yeah, this has been what's contributing to Greg really getting Fury so quickly, and I just feel like if we can re-roll those, it's going to be really, really helpful to him in kind of like managing his own kind of emotions. We've dealt with his fears, which is brilliant, and his character values are really, really strong as well. So yeah, once we've done the aspirations with Greg, he's basically ready to age up to adult. Eliza's also doing really well. She's also already completed one of her aspirations, the goal-orientated aspiration, and she's working through the drama llama. It shouldn't be too hard to do because she just has to do homework one more time. And then it's things like earning and keeping an A, level 3 of the after-school activity, level 3 of the side hustle, which she's already on level 2 on both of those, I think. So yeah, it should be quite easy to kind of wrap those up quite soon. There is a bit of a waiting game with things like having to wait for career day, but other than that, it shouldn't be too hard. And we do need to just keep on working on like her fitness skill, her entrepreneur skill. Again, I think slow and steady wins the race with Eliza, and we're making really good progress there. Her character values are also amazing and she doesn't have any fears. Over to Vlad, the birthday boy. Again, he's completed the Whiz Kid aspiration and the Creative Genius aspiration, and he's maxed out 3 of the child skills, so he is definitely ready to age up to teenage age now. So yeah, we can do that in the next video. We can plan him a birthday party. It's going to be really exciting. He's doing okay on character values. He has 2 in the positive range and no fears. So yeah, doing well there, Vlad. Good job. He's also already Drama Club 3, so he has a bit of an advantage, I think, when it comes to doing those teenage aspirations. Don is kind of really stuck on learning to ride a bike, so he does need to do that. But once he's done that, I feel like he's also going to have completed those 2 aspirations quite quickly. I also feel like he's going to kind of max out the body skill, the motor skill quite quickly as well, which means that he'll also be ready to age up to teen soon. So again, yeah, making really good progress now. I feel like, you know, the end is in sight with this Let's Play. And his character values are okay as well. He hasn't got anything in range yet, but empathy and responsibility are looking pretty good. Agnes hasn't been a child for very long, so she still has a lot of work to do, but she's making some good progress with her first aspiration, artistic prodigy. So once she completes that, we're going to have to pick a second child aspiration for her, and we do need to kind of max out creativity. But again, I feel like we're not too far off with that. Her emotional control is unfortunately abysmal, so that is definitely something we need to get her to work on. But I think things like meditation, yoga are going to be helpful with that. Sweet baby angel Grim Reaper, as soon as he maxes out his potty skill, he can also age up, so we might even be able to have 2 birthdays back to back with Grim and Vlad. But I'm gonna end it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you don't mind this kind of editing style. Again, I've kind of taken 3 hours of footage and condensed it down into an hour, so this might be how we complete this Let's Play. And again, really excited to kind of like get them all aged up, get them to be in adult age, and then checking out that new expansion pack when it's announced and kind of like seeing what that's all about. I am quite excited to kind of like switch LPs and start like a new season there. So yeah, like let's keep kind of like smashing these videos out and really focusing on raising them right and completing this series. Thank you everybody who supports me. Thank you everybody who's kind of like stuck by this really long series actually, and giving me tips and giving me support. I really do appreciate all of your faces. Have a good week, guys. If you haven't subscribed yet and you want to do so, that's really helpful to me and it gives me a lot of encouragement. So thank you everybody who is already subscribed, like 750 of you. That is amazing. That's such a lot of people. Yeah, of course, anyone, if you want to like the video as well, it also really encourages me and helps me out, so I appreciate it for those of you who do that. Yeah, leave me your comments, let me know if you've got any kind of advice of how to speed things up, and let me know what you think we should do with Vlad. Should he be an actor, or do you think we should switch into the science career, because that could also be interesting. And I will see you guys again soon. Take care of your faces. Bye, friends. Oh, as well, I have a TikTok now. So if you want to see me being extra strange and being an old person who came to TikTok like 5 years late and started playing with filters, like go and check out my TikTok channel, and yeah, you can see me being cringe over there. See you guys soon. Take care, friends. Have a good week. Bye.